Hello, my name's Paul-Beckett, and it's been a little minute since I've made a video. It's been the summer holidays here in Scotland, the school summer holidays. So I've been away back home and relaxing. And it's obviously, I always come on here when I've had a thought or, something's been kind of brewing. And really over the summer, I've spoke to a few people who've reached out through these videos. And I've also done like an interview on this podcast thing. When that comes to fruition, I'll post it here somewhere. But there's been a few opportunities for me to kind of relate with people and be speaking, about all of this, about the truth, and actually then myself think, it's a good way that we've just discussed that, or that was a new way to think about something. So actually, I wanted just to go back to basics on, this whole self-realization thing, which is obviously the entire point to any of these videos and the spiritual path and, all of the apparent dramas and pitfalls and tragedies that seem to befall us on the way. So I've noticed a lot when I speak to people that there's a very preconceived notion about what self-realization is. And I think, and you can't blame us for doing this, that people, when they're stuck in the pits of, ego identification and things, want to see self-realization as this like, ta-da, this this complete release from pain, this complete release from anxiety, and almost kind of like this becoming of like this something more, okay? And it's kind of true and it's not true. My life before was completely different, but it was completely different because of the way I thought about it, because of the attachments and the importance I gave to things, because of my likes, my dislikes, like the way my mind tried to orchestrate things, like this has to happen, this can't happen, and if it does happen, it's wrong. And afterwards, I'm still here, living the life of Paul. The world is still the world, my family is still my family, my job's still my job, but everything is different. And the reason everything is different is because I am different inside. I think differently. I relate differently to everything now, which means that the same scenario apparently is outside of me, yet completely different now to me. So there's a temptation to remember the world is just an external projection of our internal state as a whole. Maybe we all contribute as, these little blips of characters we believe we are, but the world we see, the universe we see, is an external manifestation of the thought, could I be separate? Could I be separate from my source? Could I be something that I'm not? And so in that way, it's an impossibility. I can't be separate because there is only one, and I am that one thing that is. And we call that whatever consciousness, awareness, God, like, the creator of all that is, whatever you want to call it, there is only one. So the idea of separation straight away is impossible. What does impossible mean? It means it's not possible, which means this play, which is playing out all around me, in front of me, which I've took part in, is an impossibility. It's an impossibility for me to find myself separate, distinct, alone in a body. It's an impossibility for me to be surrounded by apparent others in the same situation. It's an impossibility for there to be a species. I'm a human, I am different to a dog, which is different to an owl, which is different to a tree, which is different to a bee. It's impossible. But this entire dream is kind of like a fraction and like a mirror smashing, or appears to be like a mirror smashing. Like, so this one is imagining itself broken into an infinity of different parts. Okay. So straight away, from realizing my true nature, I realized that that wasn't the truth. Now, the body's eyes still showed me that. The body's ears still heard different people's voices. My fingers still touch something that feels like, oh, this is slimy, or this is moss on the floor, or this is a crunchy leaf, or this is a fairy dog, or this is the feel of my own skin. So if I was to rely on the body senses as a witness, I would be 100% convinced that the world around me is exactly what it is. Separate pieces existing completely individually in relation to each other. But the change was in my mind. All of a sudden, I remembered unity. I remembered the unity that I am one with. So now the play around me is still going on, but my investment in it is completely different. It's kind of like being in a movie. It's like, I get that it all looks really real on the screen, but it's not really. That's kind of how it feels a bit now. So yes, everything has changed, but it's changed because I changed, because that's the only true change that I can make. We've been really tempted to try and change ourselves by changing our externals. I'll be happier when I get this other job. I'll be happier when I've got this different partner. I'll be happier when I live in this different place. I'll be happier when I own this, that, the other thing. And it kind of you can definitely bring a bit of a temporary like happiness, can't you? Oh, I got that thing that I wanted, but how long does it last? It doesn't last, because we cannot change ourselves by changing the outside picture. It has to, any real change has to be internal, and there can only be a change of the mind, because that is only what we truly are. We're not bodies. We're not hunks of meat. So one thing that I've been speaking about quite a lot is the fact that don't romanticize this to be that all of a sudden I'm going to have this realization, and then I'm going to be surrounded by unicorns and fairies and this beautiful like fairy tale world. You're going to be in the same world, but your relation to this world will be completely, completely different. And so that's where the peace comes from. That's where like this feeling of bliss, this feeling of satisfaction comes from, which is this. I still see the absolute shit show of the world around me, but thank God it's not the truth. Thank God that this really is just a play that's playing out around me. That's where my kind of peace comes from. There's a lovely line in the book, A Course in Miracles, which is the only spiritual book really that I've resonated with since realizing my true nature, and that is, what's real cannot be threatened, what is unreal does not exist. Herein lies the peace of God. And it took me a really long time to get the book at all. I hated it when I first read it. I hated it. I didn't like the language it was written in. I didn't like the way it had Christian rhetoric. There was so many things that I didn't like about that book. But I stuck with it, and I'm so glad that I did, because it's been a really good kind of roadmap. Because remember, if you can call it a happening, happened to me, but still, I then needed to integrate this new way of being with still being in exactly the same place, looking the exact same as I did before, with the exact same group of friends around me, and the exact same problems I had before, and the exact same everything. Everything was apparently the same, but completely different. And the only change could be how I related to it, my beliefs, my investment. So this idea of this truth that I've remembered, this unity that I know now, that I now know myself to be a part of, and every other thing, apparent thing to be a part of, that's the truth. And so anything that appears to be happening here cannot change the truth. And with that comes like this massive sense of relief, this massive sense of, oh, thank God I was wrong. Thank God I was wrong, because where did being right get me? it got me famine, and it got me war, and it got me competition, and it got me jealousy, and it got me uh, desperation, and it got me this idea that I'm a beggar in this wild story, and I just need to really beg, borrow, and steal to get anything that I need, until I realized that I am everything that I need. And it's not I as in Paul, it's it's all of us. It's the satisfaction we were looking for externally is what you truly are, that feeling of total abundance, lacking nothing, lacking nothing. And that might be sleeping in a tent or on the street or in a penthouse or in a mansion. The thing that you are is your wealth. Now, in this world, of course, we still have material needs that need to be met. It would be silly to say that we don't. And there's still, of course, in this dream of duality, there's still the haves and the have-nots. Okay, and every level in between. Of course it is. I still live in the same world. But yeah, that urge to consume, that urge to own, that urge to give me more, give me more, give me more that I had before. It's just, I couldn't say it's not there, because those thoughts will still suggest themselves to me, but I just don't buy into them. I just don't believe that that's my voice saying, this is what I need. Because I just had this real, just like a waking up to what I truly am, and what I truly am is enough. So what do I need to add to that? Don't get me wrong, having a nice car is nice. And a nice flat is nice. Wearing nice clothes is nice. It's not evil. The world's not an evil place. It's not like, but it's a distraction, because we want to make identities out of all of these things. I'm the guy with the nice car. I'm the guy who drives a Porsche. Do you know what that means? I'm a real big deal. Do you know? We want to do that about everything, don't we? Our jobs, our looks, our achievements, our education, our families, our everything means something. Everything becomes another layer of the story of me. And we could think, well, without that story of me, I'd be nothing. Without the story of me, you are everything. Without that story of me, which was only a set of self-imposed limitations, that's all a personality is. A little box we put ourselves in and say, I can be nothing other than that. Well, once I realized that I was never in that box, well, I've been playing a funny little game, haven't I? I went and stood in the cupboard, closed the door behind me, and told everyone I was locked in. That was just something I did to myself. So yeah, self-realization isn't going to be this you becoming a superhero, isn't going to be the world around you just all of a sudden singing and everything going your way. Shit still happens. But the relationship to these things that are happening is completely, completely different. And that's where the peace is. That's where this just sense of satisfaction is. So the weather outside is no longer affecting my boat, because I realized that the true weather was actually always inside the boat. I just wanted to give my power away to all of these external factors. I just wanted to say, oh, poor me, here I am, little thing getting thrown around by the world. And sometimes it's nice to me and sometimes it's not. And maybe I can climb myself to this nice position and maybe I can't. And maybe, until I realized, hang on a minute, this was all just a distraction from me looking within and from me seeing that I am the happiness that I was always looking for. I am the wealth that I thought I needed to earn outside. I am the satisfaction that I was looking for in people and in situations and in places and in things to own. I was always that. So I don't think I can say this enough, because I don't want self-realization to turn into well, it is already another ego game. The entire spiritual path is the ego saying, I'm not there yet. How can you not be what you already are? Of course you are. You know, the entire spiritual path is the ego saying, I'm looking for my house, I'm looking for my home. Have you saw it? Well, it's looking out of its own front window. You know, it's there's no change, there's no achievement in just being what you've always been. But what it is a shedding of these false identities. So what you don't want to do then is make another identity out of being a self-realized person. When I'm a self-realized person, I'll be like this, that, the other thing. It's just another a subtle ego trap to carry on playing a role. So I just wanted to jump on because I haven't made a video for a few weeks and I've missed it. And so I love you. Bye.